Welcome to Laughter and Enlightenment here at Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7, 90.3 FM, or you can live stream through the website at rnb.org.au. I have a lovely woman in. Her name is Emma Malik. She is a professional animal trainer, professional stand-up comedian, and wouldn't you know it, she's combined the two. And she is now Australia's first and only animal performing comedian.
Yay!
Emma, I'm not quite sure how to word that, Emma.
Neither am I.
No.
That's what it is. I'm an animal training comedian. So I used to be an animal trainer for about 13 years.
Yeah.
Ended up doing stand-up comedy through a drunken dare, and now 4 years later I combine the two and I basically tour around Australia bringing my animals and myself on stage doing comedy.
You're like a comedic version of Noah in the Ark.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine Noah having a sense of humour, but if he did, maybe that
I
would
don't
be
think
me.
they were happy times then, you know, the end of the world and excessive water.
I won't lie to you, I'm not a carpenter.
No. And Emma, so you're your own category in terms of professional stand-up comedy. There's no one else like you anywhere, is there?
I'm not going to win a Tony Award in that category just yet. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. We need to create one.
We need to create it, and I might be the only one in it, but yay me.
Good for you.
Good for me. Yay.
Girl power.
Woo.
And so, Emma, you grew up in the UK, did you originally?
Yes. So I lived in Winchester, which is in the south of England, and I was there up until the age of 21.
21, yes. And then you moved to Sydney.
Not quite. So I came to Australia as a backpacker for a couple of years, did the whole fruit picking thing. Then moved to,
picking.
I can tell you all about nuts and fruit and all that type of thing. And then I had to leave Australia for visa reasons. So then I went to Italy and taught English in Italy. Then I went to Madrid in Spain and trained people's pet dogs in Spain and also taught English. And then I got asked to go to Thailand to set up a parrot show in Thailand, where I also featured on Thailand's Got Talent with a load of parrots, and I got to train animals for the King of Malaysia.
Good grief.
I know. And then I came to Australia because I got sponsored as a dog trainer, because apparently you people don't have enough dog trainers, and they were like, Emma, you'll do, and they gave me a visa, and now I've been here and I have a passport.
You have a passport and they can't kick you out.
You can't kick me out.
You're here all the way.
As much my mother dislikes it, I am here.
Oh, poor mummy, she must miss you.
She does miss me.
So, Emma, did you study something to become a professional animal trainer? Was that something after school?
Yeah, no. So basically, when I finished high school, I went to agricultural college, which is where you go when you fail high school.
Okay.
So I went to agricultural college and I studied as a 2-year diploma in animal management and science, which basically they set you up for any career with animals. So it could be veterinary nursing or pet training or working in a zoo, basically anything. So the college that I went to had like a working dairy farm, a working zoo. So every day I would go and I'd work with dogs and monkeys and wallabies and cows and pigs and deer, and it was an incredible experience. I also learned how to smoke weed there as well.
Well, that's always useful.
It was very, very interesting. I learned a lot of life skills.
Yeah. Well, as a young person studying, I think that's part of the curriculum, really.
It was incredible. But at school, at high school, and just generally throughout my whole school life, I was never particularly academic. My parents used to laugh because the school reports always said the same thing. Emma is a delight to teach, but you know, she's struggling. She ain't great. However, when I went to agricultural college, they were like, Emma, she's a delight and she knows her shit. She's awesome. Good on her. Keep it going. And basically in my second year of agricultural college, I was asked to teach some of the lectures.
Goodness me.
I know.
You are so smart.
I know. I wasn't smart. I just had the gift.
Yes.
I could get a dog to sit. Look at that. It wasn't happening, but I could do it. And then basically I left agricultural college when I qualified, got my diploma. I got a job training pigs for the BBC. And then I came back to agricultural college / university where I did a degree in animal science. And they're like, hey, Emma, welcome back. Do you want to teach this? And I was like, yeah, why am I paying all this? Well, I wasn't paying. Why are my parents paying this money for me to study this degree when you're asking me to teach a section from it? So I just quit.
Okay.
So I've done 4 days of university, people. 4 days.
That must be a record.
4 days. My parents were very pleased. They didn't have to pay a cent.
Going back on that previous sentence, Emma, you mentioned you've trained pigs for the BBC.
Yes.
Is there any possibility you can elaborate why the BBC would need trained pigs?
Just some of the people in their office. No. So it was a movie called The Legend of the Tamworth 2. It was like back in 2000 and I'm guessing 6. It has been shown here in Australia because I was actually backpacking here in Australia where it was shown. And I was like, don't want to brag, I trained those pigs.
Yeah. Were you listed in the credits as
No,
pig
it was
trainer?
a company, but I was an extra.
Oh, okay.
In the pig movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a whole different story. It was an awful time.
We won't go there. We'll highlight.
Come to my shows. It's in there. Basically, small pony, big erection on set. Anyway, I had to deal with it. So it was horrific. Anyway, I trained these pigs. It was a movie. It was basically The British Babe. So the pigs could talk, but they complained.
Oh yeah, they're all. The weather's terrible.
They were like,
my cup of tea's gone.
Yeah,
cold.
they were like, I've been on my trotters all day.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
Pretty much like that. That was it. You wrote a script apparently.
Yeah, you're right. I did all the voices too.
Yeah, no, I could tell. It was great. So I did that, and then it just kicked off from there. So I supplied dogs for Harrods. You know the store in London?
Yes, I've been to Harrods many times.
Yeah, so I
love it.
They do a fashion show with celebrities and dogs to raise money. I did lots of commercials. One that sticks in mind where I had these, you know, the huge Highland cattle with the big horns?
Yes.
And they're called hairy moos.
Yeah.
I did that, and we had to bring like 12 Highland cattle into a car lot indoors. So it was like loads of brand new cars with cows and big horns. That was fun. Loads of stuff like that. But basically my job was an animal trainer for the commercial industry. So I did anything and everything. And
were you working with another company that sent you out as one of these?
So a lovely woman called Rona Brown employed me. And basically I found out afterwards.
Good on you, Rona, if you're listening.
No, she will be listening, so I'll make sure she listens.
Good on you, Rona.
I found out she employed me, so she employed me as an assistant trainer for the pig movie, and I found out later on she employed me because when I interviewed everyone, even though I was 17, I seemed I would be a good drinking partner. And that is why I got employed. Bless her.
That's called teamwork.
Do you know what? And I was a good drinking partner.
Well, that's it. I think that's important in an employee.
I didn't let her down. I didn't let anyone down there. I was a great drinking partner.
But you were 18 by then.
Yes.
Yes, we'll say that for the purposes of this interview.
No, I was. I looked it anyway.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And that sounds like a very exciting start to your working life. Finding your niche pretty early on and studying and being recognised as that. Because that's a specialised niche in a specialised industry. Not everyone can do what you do. Are you like the dog whisperer, Caesar Milan, where you don't whisper to them and it's your energy, or do you use actually tried techniques that work?
No. Well, it's interesting because a dog whisperer, I've noticed every season of his TV show, his teeth get wider and wider.
Yes.
I haven't developed that LA look yet.
No.
What I found with me is originally I was pretty serious in my animal training. I was like, I had a bum bag, don't want to brag, and clickers and whistles and all of that, and I knew what I was doing. But as soon as I entered comedy, the animal training and the comedy, basically now when I train animals, because people watch me, I feel like I have to make it into a show.
Right.
So it's an interesting. So I know what I'm doing with the animals isn't right. Like the method that I normally use when an animal doesn't do what you're meant to, what it's meant to do, is you ignore it. I'll crack a joke. I'll interact with the animal. We'll do a little Lauren Hardy sketch. It'll be hilarious.
So
doesn't help in the training.
No.
But it's comical value, and this is the curse of comedy. Everything now has to be funny. And it's annoying.
But it's win-win either way. If the training doesn't work, if they don't do exactly what they're supposed to, you can make it a funny experience. So you've sort of won the day anyway.
Well, do you know what? Providing the animals are enjoying themselves and the people who are watching and enjoying themselves, and I get paid, I'm fine.
That's it. No animals were hurt
in
the making of whatever you were
while
doing.
People were looking at them.
That's it. Well, not while, maybe later on.
No,
now tell me, Emma, so it's quite an extraordinary field you've gone into, and you've come here, you're living in Australia after all these marvellous travels overseas, and you're now an Aussie mate.
Yeah, got the passport.
Good on you, mate. And you've set yourself up in Sydney. Now, did you set yourself up as an animal trainer in Sydney through an agency or a business, or do you work for yourself?
So I was sponsored to come over here as a dog trainer.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I actually started in the Northern Beaches.
Yes, the Northern Beaches, which is where Radio Northern Beaches is based.
That's where it's based, and I started off there, so I might have groomed your dog. So I was there, I was sponsored over the dog trainer, ended up doing a lot of dog grooming, mobile dog grooming, so I travel around in the van, and hate myself every day that I did it.
Yeah.
It was horrible. No dog likes being groomed, apparently. No dog likes looking pretty.
No.
And apparently a lot of people have way too much money.
Yes, too much money, too much time.
But anyway, I did a lot of dog training, dog grooming in the Northern Beaches, and I came to Australia and I hadn't been to really Sydney before, and I came to the Northern Beaches area to work, and my goodness me, it's a little bit of paradise, isn't it?
It is a paradise. It's a lovely place to live. If you're going to live somewhere in Sydney, it's very, very
I was
nice.
in Avalon, stunning.
Yes.
Stunning.
The whole coastline's nice, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
So when you lived in Avalon for a period of time, Emma, what did you like to do on the Northern Beaches? Did you go walking? Did you go swimming? Get rid of a hike up the hill?
So I was, super lucky. I got to work 6 or 7 days a week.
Oh, I see.
And got paid 5 days a week for that as well. It was great. Yeah, that was really great. I like driving past your beaches.
Yes.
That was nice.
Well, maybe you'll have more time now.
Well,
now that you're older.
Now that I'm older, now I have 2 jobs, so I might have more time.
You might have more time, so you might see Emma down in the Northern Beaches sometime.
Just napping.
Just having a nap. Good old nana nap.
Just tired.
Yes. Your family come to visit you while you've been living out here?
No, they don't love me.
No.
My dad never seen me do stand-up before.
Oh, well. He's in for a treat.
He is in for a treat. I bet he's never heard his daughter swear like a trooper before.
No,
but he's
it'll
gonna
be a proud moment for any father.
And do you know what? I'm going to make sure I flash a bit of flesh during the
please
set
do.
as well. I'm gonna
Please do.
I just want to make him go, do you know what? I should have bought her that pony. That's
right. This is a result of all of that.
That's what I want him to think.
That was the moment.
If I bought her that pony, she'd be a doctor.
That's it.
After dog training, the good people at Wildlife Sydney Zoo took me on. They had no idea what they were getting into.
No, I bet they did.
But to be fair, they did. Did you know what? At the interview, they sat me down. They asked me a load of questions, and one of the questions they asked me. So basically, I told them my whole CV, everything I'd done, all the training of animals, and they asked me after that. They went, "Well, what can you bring to the team?" And I was like, "Oh my god,
isn't it obvious?"
I've just told you." And do you know what? All I could think of was banana bread.
That's it.
I literally went, I can bring you banana bread. And then, bless them, they didn't know what to come back with that. They were like, all right, good on you. And then the next question they asked me was, name your biggest failure. And I went, past relationships. And they still hired me.
You wonder why that's pertinent to the job.
I was honest. They were like, yep, we're getting a special someone right here. But, I didn't hide it straight away. So basically, I used to be full-time there. I worked 3 days a week training the good animals at Wildlife Sydney Zoo. It's a fabulous place in Darling Harbour. If you love native Australian animals.
Yes, for anyone that doesn't know, where is this, Emma?
It's next door to the aquarium in Darling Harbour. Everyone knows the aquarium, Sea Life. So
yes.
Next door to that, all Aussie wildlife. Great, only takes like an hour and a half to walk around. So if you like koalas, wallabies, kangaroos, got international visitors, that's the place to take them. Fabulous. So I work now there, training the animals. I'm there 3 days a week. The other days of the week, I do comedy. And I train my personal animals to come on stage with me. So I have my stick insect, Susan, who I don't particularly like, purely because she's thinner than me. But anyway, her merch sells, so she stays.
That's it.
Then I have my dog, Dukdik, who's a Thai rescue dog. I didn't name him now. I would have named him something much easier, like Bob or
that's
like
it.
David or something like that.
Davo.
But Davo. Anyway, his merch sells, so he's sticking. And then I have Professor Shy, who is currently the only working goldfish in Australia in comedy. What a claim! What a claim!
I didn't realise goldfish were so funny, Emma.
No, well, apparently they are.
They can be
not
trained.
difficult next to me. Well, they can do stuff. Who knows?
Who knew that you could even train a fish to do anything?
I know. Well, we went on Studio 10 beginning of the year, How to Train Your Goldfish segment. Susan stole the show because, she She does that. But yeah, the goldfish, they do stuff. So let's watch this space. Yay me.
Now, you mentioned your dog was a Thai rescue dog. Can we tell the listeners, Emma, how you got a Thai rescue dog through Australian customs and living here in Sydney?
Yeah. So I was living in Thailand in an area called Samut Prakan before coming to Sydney, and basically the zoo/crocodile farm I was working at, there was this little puppy I spotted one day. Cut a long story short, I took ownership of this puppy, and to bring him to Australia cost $10,000.
Oh, $10,000.
He's not even a pedigree.
No.
His dad was a German Shepherd, his mother was a promiscuous Labrador. And now I've got him $10,000. So he's earning his keep.
He is earning his keep.
Performing around the country.
Getting him out working.
Got his own stubby holder merch.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Look out for those, everybody.
Oh, I know. If you want him to live, buy them.
Now, because I know a lot of people go overseas and they may go to a second or a third world country or somewhere and they see animals in distress or they see them being neglected and they want to help, but they don't actually follow up. And you actually did follow up.
I followed up right there. Yeah.
How did you do that, Emma? What did you have to apply through?
So basically, when I found him, I didn't want a dog because I knew I wouldn't be staying in Thailand forever.
Yeah.
And then I decided it was time for, after 2 years, I was like, I'm going to leave Thailand. And I looked at taking him back to the UK, and it wasn't too difficult. With the right vaccines, I could fly him straight over, no quarantine, fantastic, not too difficult. However, then I got the opportunity to come to Australia as a dog trainer.
That's
really
right.
wanted to train.
You were headhunted.
I was
almost.
I was, shoulder neck hunted.
Yes.
And I came over and I did the research, and basically your quarantine wouldn't even allow him in the country.
Not even at all.
He couldn't even get a little paw in. He had to spend 6 months in a rabies-free country before he could enter Australia, which was Singapore.
Really?
So he went to Singapore for 6 months for a little vacation. I flew him over with Thai Airways as my excess baggage. It was cheaper than going in the hold. He spent 6 months, 1 month in quarantine in Singapore, 5 months in boarding kennels, then flew Australia. You only allow your animals to fly with Qantas. Jetstar apparently isn't good enough for your international. No, you got to fly Qantas. So he flew Qantas, could only go in the hold, so I couldn't fly over to Singapore and bring him as my excess baggage, which would have been so much cheaper.
When you say excess baggage, you don't mean he'd be stored over the cabin baggage.
No. So they're in a compartment in the hold, which is the same pressure as the cabin that we're in.
Oh, well, that's good. Yes, so they can breathe.
The excess baggage basically means you bring them into the airport in their crate, they get weighed, and you get charged as it was an oversized bag.
Right, okay.
So it is a lot cheaper than the crate fare.
Okay.
Where they basically get charged not as baggage but as a special delivery type thing. And it basically...
That's a good tip if you're listening.
Yeah, well, Australia, you've got no in or out. You have to do it this way.
Yeah.
So,
unless you're Johnny Depp and you try and sneak them in.
Oh, then you just sneak them in.
And then incur the wrath of every government official.
If you've got a private jet, you're grand.
Yes.
But if you don't...
No.
You got to do it this way.
That's right.
So basically it cost $10,000 in total. Australia was the most expensive part. Holding him in Singapore wasn't that expensive. Flying him into Singapore wasn't that expensive. I got him to Australia. The vets in quarantine charged, it was something ridiculous, like $180. Every 30 minutes, the vet had to look at him a minimum an hour. All they do is scan the microchip, look at the paperwork, make sure it was just... But you can't say no.
Make sure he's not frothing at the mouth.
Make sure not frothing at the mouth. But you can't say no. Because if you say no, then you don't get your animal. So I put him in the boarding kennel. Now, you could pay extra for dog walkers and stuff to come along. I was like, do you know what? He'll be grand. He'll be fine. So, yeah, I got him over. He was a young dog. And... for me, it was I already taken the responsibility of having this dog. I wasn't going to abandon him or send him to a shelter or rehome him just because it was an inconvenience for me. I took on that responsibility, and money is money at the end of the day. And I look at that $10,000 and I could have had a great car or an amazing holiday, but instead I got to save a life, and now he is earning his way back through his merch.
That's right. That's perfect. Now, what year was this, Emma?
2011.
Okay, so he's had quite a few years now in Australia.
He's earning his keep.
He definitely doesn't have rabies, obviously.
Oh, definitely doesn't. No,
Yeah.
he's probably one of the healthiest dogs here in Australia.
Is this the way that if you want to import an animal in from any country, is it the same procedure that they have to do a quarantine, or is it just dogs?
It depends. Oh, apparently racehorses, bring them right on in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's no trouble there, racehorses. It depends on the country. So if I was certain states of America, they only need 10 days quarantine. The UK, just 10.
Okay.
It really does depend. Sadly, Thailand was one of the, along with India and a few other countries, it has every disease under the sun.
Yes. Yeah.
So despite sending blood work back to the UK saying, hey, he's completely clear of everything, they were still, and it's good to be cautious. It really is good to be cautious, but let's just lighten the load a little bit. I ate pot noodles for 6 months to bring him over,
Oh, well, it's just an amazing sacrifice, and I think it's a sacrifice that has ended up paying dividends for you, not just because he's earning his way, but because you love him.
I love him so much.
He's your family, really, over here now, isn't he?
A lot of people say that, my family. It's like, yeah, the dog is my family.
I know.
But when you meet him, you'll see why. He's I've had a lot of people and random people come up to me after shows going, we haven't seen a dog and a person be so, I wouldn't say entwined, because that's a bit weird. But
that's more of a romantic
thing, but they haven't seen a partnership, like co-workers.
Yeah.
Like him and I, we work very well together, and he's a sweet, sweet soul. He's hilarious. I let him do what he wants in degree of, obedience type of thing, but he's a really good dog, and I hope I'm a good owner to him. But occasionally we let each other down, but we forgive each other.
Oh, that's marvelous!
And move on. It's a beautiful relationship.
Well, speaking of relationships, I think it might be time for a song. Do you want to put on a lovely love song to celebrate your relationship with your special friend?
I would.
Can you think of one?
Yeah, I can. Beyonce, Crazy in Love.
Yes.
Let's play it.
Let's play that, and you can all be up dancing and singing and
just
whatever
grab
you like.
Your dogs and shake their booties.
That's right. And so we're going to have Beyonce singing Crazy in Love. And that was Beyonce singing Crazy in Love. And you're listening to Laughter and Enlightenment with Sharon Gambrill here at Radio Northern Beaches. And I have my special guest this week, Emma Malik.
Hey.
And we've just been discussing dog training and bringing in her beloved dog from Thailand and all the kerfuffle that the government put you through. Kerfuffle, I say.
Kerfuffle means money as well.
Does it in another language? Well, it's colloquially, I think it used to be known as a bit of a business, really. But it was all worth it.
It was. It is. It definitely is.
So, Emma, do you have a particular affinity to any particular animals that you don't have? Any animals you don't currently have in your act or in your home that you love that you might consider down the track, like water buffalo or lizards?
Water buffalo was definitely... Well, I do have a lizard that works for me.
Yes.
His name's Boogie, and he's a bearded dragon, and he does come out with me for corporate gigs.
Yes.
So I do public speaking courses where I bring animals along. And after the course, basically the last assignment is the people who've been studying the course with me have to give a talk about these animals, and they get to hold them, interact with them, and they have no idea about these animals. It's literally sprung upon them, and it's like, at the end of the course, like, come on, confidence, let's do it. So Boogie, I lease out from a very good friend of mine, Justine. She lends me her bearded dragon. So I do have a lizard. I suppose the other animal that I work with closely that isn't any of my shows are parrots.
Parrots, right?
Parrots. So basically, since a little girl, 8 and 9 years old, I've been fascinated with birds. Who knows why? But I've always seemed to end up working with parrots. Now, I don't have any as a pet because they need a lot of work. And I'm aware I don't have time for that.
No.
I really don't. And also with stand-up comedy, as you would know, it's all at night.
Yes, that's it.
Parrots like to sleep at night.
Oh, that wouldn't work so well, would it?
I need
You'd have to give
owl.
it amphetamines
or something. I need like an owl or something like that. So I don't have any parrots, but I end up working with a lot of birds, and my goodness, they're fascinating. Toddlers of wings, that's what I call them.
Yeah. And you studied all of these. Did you study every kind of animal when you were doing your training and your university degree and your initial
my
training?
4-day university degree? Yeah, I studied all of them. No, I didn't. No, it's just purely for experience.
Okay.
So I just ended up in Thailand. That's when the parrots really came on board, and I ended up setting up the largest parrot show in Southeast Asia. And we had over 100 parrots for that show, and they're incredible. They're fascinating. They are so smart. They're up there with chimpanzees and dolphins.
Yeah.
And if you're considering of getting one as a pet or have one as a pet, you know, they need so much more than what we can normally give them. They're incredible animals. And I love working with them. They're challenging. They challenge me. You know, they're incredible, but they definitely are a lot of work.
That's it. Yeah. So not quite into your lifestyle right now.
Not quite, unless they can make me a good margarita or something like that. Then they can fit right on.
Give you a massage.
Oh, if they could make me a massage and a cocktail,
pedicure and a foot massage is nice.
Why did I not think of this?
Yeah, that's it. You can train them to do it.
I've trained parrots to paint. Why have I not trained them to paint my nails?
That's
my goodness me!
And they could sort of nibble at all the little dry bits on your feet.
Okay, that's disgusting, but they could do that.
Yeah. You could set up a whole business.
I could. Why did I not think
Parrot
of that?
pedicures.
Parrot pedicures. There we go.
You were telling me earlier you were running a public speaking course. Is that to do with other people learning how to speak publicly through what you've learned?
Yes.
Is that through a course in Sydney?
Yeah, so that basically I've had a couple of very large companies employ me to come along and spend an hour or two with their staff to get them a few tips and tricks that I've learned along the way as a stand-up comedian in regards to public speaking.
Yes.
It's just like an introduction to public speaking. But at the end of this, they have to do a speech about an animal. Now, obviously, I am familiar with animals. I'm familiar with most breeds. Majority of people are not. So when I thrust upon them a Goliath stick insect or a bearded dragon or, you know, another species like that, and tell them you have 10 minutes, prepare, off you go, you know, it's all about getting that confidence and just believing in yourself. And the fact that if you have to hold a reptile that you're not particularly comfortable holding and give a public speak, you know, for 5 minutes, if you can do that, you can do anything.
That's it.
So it's basically throwing people into the deep end.
That's excellent confidence building.
It's confidence, and it's having a laugh.
Yeah.
It is literally having a laugh. That is it. And
what a wonderful thing to do. I think that's a lot better than boot camp, you know, for like team building and confidence skills. Throwing yourself around in mud and lifting heavy tyres. No. Hire Emma Malik to come into your business.
No, do it. You
absolutely
can find my website, emmamalik.com, and it's got the contact details there. And it's about having fun, doing something a little different. And the best thing is, at the end of it all, you get to take selfies with the animals and pet the animals and do that type of thing.
And you also feel better about yourself and what you can achieve going forward, don't you?
Definitely.
It gives you a feeling of accomplishment. And you go, well, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Yeah, literally. If I can hold a Goliath stick insect, who I have no idea what this animal was 2 minutes ago, and give a talk about it in front of strangers, I can do anything.
I think that's tremendous, Emma. Now tell me, how did you get into stand-up comedy originally? You mentioned earlier it was a drunken bet, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Was that the first step?
It was.
Yeah, that's often the first step, isn't it? Drunken bet.
So
I'll have a go.
Yeah, literally that was it. So it was Mardi Gras back in 2012. I was making a bunch of strangers laugh, and a friend of mine said, I dare you to do an open mic night. Now, I can't refuse a dare, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So they booked me into an open mic night. I told about 6 of my closest friends. Didn't tell anyone else. My parents, no one knew.
That's always the best way, I think. Keep it as low-key as possible.
It was very low-key. I had 5 minutes that I'd written, and a lovely comedian called Rob McHugh had edited it for me and helped me with it, and
shout out to Rob. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rob. He was a gem. And I went up, I did this 5 minutes, and the other comedians there basically took me under their wing, especially an amazing comedian called Scott Thompson, who's recently gone to the UK.
He's also called Scotty Boom Booms.
I know, Scotty Boom Booms. He's awesome.
And I believe he's actually almost on a diet at the moment.
He's doing very well.
Doing very well for his health.
Yeah, and Richard as well is incredible. And both of them took me under their wing, and it was just meant to be a one-off. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be a career. It was meant to be, oh yeah, I can do this. There we go. I'd never watched open mic before. I'd seen one professional show when I was living in Bangkok. I'd watched some comedy on TV in the UK. I had no idea what I was getting involved in. And it started off as a hobby. And then it went to a hobby where I could get a few free drinks. And then it went to a hobby where I could get a few free meals.
Yeah.
And then it went to a hobby where I earned like $50.
Yeah.
And then it went to almost like a job where I could earn a few $100. And then it went to my job.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It's incredible.
So like a step-by-step process.
It very strange. I still now with my solo shows, every time before I go on and, you know, I see strangers sitting in the audience, I just think, whoa, like, wow. Like, really, wow. It's incredible.
How to go from one point to the next.
Yeah, like, how do I go from just a drunken dare to, you know, people paying money to come and see me?
To come and see what you have to offer.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I love it, and I'm pretty sure everyone loves it because we just have a good fun time.
I think it's a wonderful camaraderie, particularly in Sydney, between comedians, at least when I was more active around. You can meet some very lovely people and you feel like you're on the same wavelength. And you go, these are my people.
I've
I
met some
understand
great
my
friends.
brain.
Yeah. I've met some great friends.
And I find there is a lot of help going around out there. So, Emma, when you first started out doing comedy, were you using your animal or animal references, or did you just start out with something else?
No, I didn't. I didn't want to use my animals or my animal reference. I didn't want it to seem as a gimmick.
Yes.
So it took me about 2.5 years. And people throughout those 2.5 years then bring the animals, talk about the animals. Why aren't you bringing out the animals? And I was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want people to think that it's just a gimmick. And then I brought out my dog. It was for the Sydney Comedy Festival. I was asked to MC a gala, and I brought my dog out, and it went down a tree. And I was like, ow! And then I did it again and again. It was like, ow! Okay, this is great. And the dog was like, this is great. I get to hang out with you. I was like, this is great. I do get to hang out with you. This is amazing. And then it just took off like that. And then I may have had one too many wines, and I decided to do my first solo show for the Sydney Fringe last year. And I knew I was going to have the dog in it because he'd been a success.
Yes.
And then I had one too many wines, and I just said to a girlfriend of mine, I said, do you know what? I'm going to put a stick insect in the show. They never get enough stage times.
They don't, do they?
They don't. It's always
that?
It's always dancing dogs and
That's
singing
it.
parrots.
That's
and I
it.
went, do you know what? Bring on the stick insects. And so we made up Susan, and I went, I want a Goliath stick insect, and I went and got one, and Susan was a hit.
So what does Susan actually do in the show? Does she move around a bit, or?
Susan does what she wants to do.
Okay.
I can't control Susan.
No, she's a free spirit.
She does what...
Confident.
So, yeah, basically Susan climbs up me, climbs on audience members, waves at people. She does everything.
She's almost like the Queen in some respect, just adored.
But thinner.
But much thinner.
Much thinner.
Yeah. But
So basically Susan in my show, she plays the part of my arch nemesis because she's thinner than me.
yeah.
And her and I, we dislike each other throughout the whole shows. One of us ends up getting killed at the end of the show.
Okay.
I won't give it away.
No,
who
please
does,
don't.
but one of us does. Someone does end up dying at the end of the show. But yeah, she's amazing. When I took her on national TV, it was meant to be for the goldfish, but she stole the show.
Yeah.
And even the presenters were like, "Oh, Susan's stealing the show, like live on TV." I was like, "Yep, yep, she is. Look at her go.
There she goes.
There she goes, off doing her thing."
And how do you get the fish around to a gig, Emma? Is that a special? Do you put them in a special container, or
No, so
just the old-fashioned plastic
They
bag?
go in the bag. However, I have to set a timer as soon as they're in the plastic bag.
Okay.
Because of oxygen.
Okay, so this is an important tip.
This is a very important tip. So
For anyone who wants fish or
Yeah.
wants to transport fish, listen right now to Emma.
Well, if you want to transport fish long haul, it can be done. You just don't put them in a bag. You can put them in a tank, for example, or a bucket with a net or top. Anyway, to transport these fish to the TV event we were doing, I had to pop them in a bag so it was easier. I made sure it was full of oxygen, timed it.
Yeah.
And the best thing I think that's happened to me so far in the sense of being a diva is I'm in the green room of Channel 10, and my manager calls the stage floor manager of Channel 10 and says, "We need to get the fish on set now. Oxygen is running low." And that was where I was like, I've made it. My fish is getting calls. We're doing, and this manager, bless her, came flying down and was like, let's get, because his name's Professor Shyla, let's get him up. Let's do this now. We rushed his fish up. It was the best thing ever, but I just love the fact that he got a phone call
Yeah.
saying, we need to get him on set now.
That's quite extraordinary.
It
isn't
was
it?
fantastic. It was brilliant. The
What
dogs,
a leg up in
Susan,
the world.
Dukdik, myself and Susan, we were chilling out in the dressing room, but Professor Shy, he needed oxygen, and we had to go.
And you had to pop him in a bowl or just get going?
He had a tank.
He had a tank.
He had a tank. So we had the stagehands carry his tank, and it was just incredible.
God, you know you've made it then, don't you?
I made it. I was like, he had a little bit of Evian water in there. He was just loving life. It was. And what's the best thing is where he's in his tank, we're ready to go, and he's staring at me, and he's like, all right, let's do this, because he knows something's happening because we've been training for this. And God bless him, he was the most perfect fish. He did everything perfectly. It was just incredible. But yeah, it was just that oxygen. We need to get the fish.
Emma, I can't even imagine how you could train a fish. Is it eye fin coordination? How do you do that? Do you wave things at them? I mean, not to give away your tricks or not to give away your techniques, but do you look at the fish?
Well, you've got to look at it, because then you know where it's going.
Yeah.
Basically, you've got to, any hopes and ambitions of finding love, you need to set aside. Every spare moment of my day, I will train this fish.
Yeah. Okay.
So you go, I don't want a social life.
No.
I don't want to find love. I'm just going to train this fish.
Okay.
So I would wake up in the morning, I would train the fish. I would go to work, I'd come back, I'd train the fish.
We're talking hours and hours.
Hours
and hours.
Hours. And it paid off, because look at me now.
Look at you now.
Look at me now. My 2-bedroom house in Stanmore.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Well, I think to celebrate that, we're going to put a song of celebration on, to celebrate making it with your fish.
Yeah.
What songs do you like, Emma?
YMCA.
Oh,
That's
YMCA.
A song of celebration.
Yes.
That is a song of celebration right there.
That's it now.
If my fish could do the signals, the YMCA, they would do it to that song.
That would be pretty good.
Susan's got a lot of legs. I reckon she would do it.
Do you think animals and any kind of animal likes the sound of music? Have you found that?
Oh, the parrots that I worked with. I had a blue and golden macaw which loved music. It would sway to it. No, definitely. There's some which generally, enjoy the rhythm.
Yeah.
However, fish don't really have ears, can't hear the music.
Can they hear a vibration, do you think?
Yeah, they can, but...
Just vaguely?
Yeah, it's not a good vibration.
No, because it would just...
It's not like the 70s Motown or whatever.
No,
it's... Yeah. I mean, I reckon if they could do the YMCA, they would. It's a song of celebration.
I think that's what we'll imagine, that Emma's Marvellous Fish. What was your fish name again?
So there's 2 fish, they double up. So we have Steven and Fernando.
Oh, it's exotic then.
I know.
Oh,
the stage name is Professor Shy, because he's a little coy.
So Professor Shy, we dedicate this to you, the village people singing YMCA. That was YMCA by the village people, and you're listening to Laughter and Enlightenment, where you learn stuff and you have a laugh, with Sharon Gambrill here at Radio Northern Beaches. And I have my special guest tonight, Emma Malik. What's the name of your show, your first solo show?
My first solo show is called If You Can't Train It, Eat It.
That's an interesting title. And that's obviously referring to the animals? Or is it just
not
a
the
play
children
of
I've
words?
adopted? No. It is definitely the animals.
Yes. And you appeared at the Sydney Fringe Festival with that show?
So the first one was the Sydney Fringe that we sold out. I then took it to the Melbourne International Melbourne Comedy Festival, which did very well there. And I'm hoping to take it to a few other states.
Yes.
And yeah.
Do you think you'd be able to go to Edinburgh with something like that? How would you work that out?
I was discussing this with the management the other day. The quarantine.
That's what I was thinking. You'd need a whole new set of animals,
really.
I
would need to just... And the problem is I can't substitute Dukdik.
No.
Because he is very important to the show.
Yeah.
He is who he is. He has... I've never met a dog with comedic timing, but apparently there is one, and here he is.
Yeah.
I would love to Edinburgh one day, but I wouldn't take Dukdik because then he'd have to go into quarantine.
That's a game.
He wouldn't have to go into quarantine going to Edinburgh, but coming back.
Okay, so he could go straight into the UK from here.
Yeah.
Because it's a first world country, and they obviously think that he's
but going
healthy
from
and well.
the UK to
anywhere
back
else
to Australia, he would have to do 10 days quarantine.
But just 10 days this time. Yeah. And does he have to have, would he have to have blood tests or anything else again?
Yeah, he would.
So you've got to put him through all that.
I've got to do all of that, and I wouldn't. He's his time.
He's earned his stripes.
He's fine. With the fish and the stick insect, you know, not to ruin the magic, I would just have the fish and stick insect over there and get someone to train them for me and then fly over.
Yeah.
But Dukdik, he's such an important part of the show. So Edinburgh, I would just do a whole different show.
Yes.
And I bring in, I know, like a badger, some British animal.
Go find one in one of the hedges.
Find a badger and a hedgehog.
Yes, that's it. Well, I think that sounds very exciting, what you've done so far, Emma. And have you got any ideas coming up? I was going to ask you about tips to train animals, just for the general listeners at home who might have a family pet. Do you have any tips on that in terms of, do you just suggest that they go to a special puppy training school or dog training school for general manners or general behaviour?
Yeah, definitely. If you have dogs, and you know, definitely socialise them. But I think we need to remember the animals which we forget about, which are your rabbits, which live in a hutch, guinea pigs, ferrets, fish, turtles. They're very smart and they can do a lot. So have a little Google, see what they're capable of, and just practice. And I think the most important thing to remember with animal training is it's going to be very exciting and you're going to go forward with it. It's like, this is amazing. And within the training period, you're going to go back a few steps.
Yeah.
And that's when most people go, well, it's not working. You go one step forward, two step back.
That's it. Most things in life are like that.
It's exactly like that.
It's perseverance.
Just because it's not a dog, don't think you can't train it. Just even if, like Professor Shai has shown that fish can be trained. Dukdik's a Thai rescue dog. He can be trained. Just even Susan does stuff, as much as I hate her. Give her credit. She can do things as well. It's just anything is possible. You just need patience.
Yes. And what about looking after Dukdik? Do you take him walking twice a day? What kind of tips do you have for just general health care for your pet, particularly a dog?
Yeah, so it's twice a day. I'm very lucky because he doesn't go to the toilet in the garden, so we do twice a day. I think the main thing in regards to looking after them is the diet as well. Yeah. So I know back in the day, my mum and I used to feed our previous dog like the scraps from dinner.
Yeah.
A lot of fatty bits and things.
Yep.
And then sadly the dog later on in life got a little bit sick. He got some glaucoma in the eye and things. And basically if you don't eat it, the dog shouldn't eat it.
Okay.
So I know it's tempting to feed the bits of fatty bacon and, you know, the drippings from any roast meats and stuff.
Yep.
But if you're not going to eat it, the dog shouldn't have it.
Okay.
And I think with everything, mental stimulation and enrichment, people forget a lot about enrichment. Like goldfish are very smart and they need enrichment, and so do rabbits and guinea pigs and budgies and canaries. You know, sitting in a cage or enclosure isn't good enough. They need to be out doing more, and you'll be so surprised what they can do, and you get so much more from them.
Yeah, so take care of their mental health.
Yeah.
As well as their physical health.
Definitely.
And their diet is... What do you think about the trend nowadays for dogs to eat just dried food? You know, it's like a scientifically put together program.
Yeah,
what do you think of that? As long as they have water?
Yeah. A lot of dry food has everything that needs in it. The problem with only feeding them soft food with dogs, discussing the anal glands. So,
yes, well, that's important.
Yeah, so dogs need a solid diet because when they go to the toilet, you know, that toilet needs to press against the anal glands. And if you've got a dog that's scooting along the floor, it's normally because their diet is too soft. So Dukdik, for example, he has dry food. He has a tiny bit of soft food because I mix in rosehip powder. Now he's getting older. It helps his joints. So definitely look up rosehip powder. It's fantastic. Yep. And he also has bones. Go to the butcher's. I buy for $5 a big bag of, I don't do beef bones because they're an inflammatory for animals. So I do lamb bones, get a load of lamb bones, put them in the freezer, pull them out when I need them, and he gets one once a week. I took him to the vet a few months ago for a health check. He's 8 years old now and he doesn't need any dental. He has most incredible teeth, and that's purely through bones and dry food. And
yeah. Do you give him the bones frozen or do you thaw them?
I defrost them a little bit, yeah. But the great thing about frozen bones is in the summer the flies don't go around them.
Yeah, that's it. And also it gives him something to do.
Yeah, definitely. And he enjoys it, yeah.
That's wonderful. So that's some wonderful advice from my special guest, Emma Malik. And we're just about to finish our program tonight. Emma, now that you're living in Australia and you're an Aussie, mate, I think we're going to put on an Australian band or a singer. Do you have a favourite one, a singer or a band that you like that we might put on to finish off our wonderful interview tonight?
I think it's got to be a little akadaka, isn't it?
Oh, of course, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of ACDC.
Bit of ACDC, it's got to be.
And hopefully they'll come back. I think they're going to have... Their new singer is probably going to be Axl Rose. Hopefully they're going to go on tour now that poor old Brian Johnson's retired because of his hearing loss. But it's a wonderful band.
That's Dukdik.
What's your favourite AC/DC song?
Apparently it's Woof Woof.
It's Woof Woof.
Highway to Hell, let's do it.
And that was AC/DC singing Highway to Hell. So Emma Malik, thank you very much for being on the show. Let's give a round of applause.
Yay! Fish can't clap, but yay!
And thank you very much for all your insights into animal care, animal training, your wonderful stand-up comedy career, and your professional animal comedian. It's just all combined,
Just
isn't it?
everything.
I've
Animal
never heard
training
anything like
comedian.
it.
No.
An animal training comedian. We've never had one on the show before, and I don't think we ever will. We never will.
It's an odd one.
She's one of the kind. And thank you very much, Emma. And until next week, Laughter and Enlightenment. We'll be back next Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. here at Radio Northern Beaches, 88.7, 90.3 FM. Or you can live stream through the website, rnb.org.au, or through the app TuneIn Radio. And until next week, have a happy, healthy, and laughing week.